What's cracking, everybody? It's Local Music Monday. How you doing? Hope you're having a good Monday. Shout out to my sponsors before we get into anything. Much love to EJA Moving Services, the professional movers. When you're ready to move and relocate, hit up Eddie at 315-335-0516. They'll pretty much move anything. They'll even pick up your whole house, and they'll move it to where that whole house needs to go. I mean, it's amazing. It's a reputable service. You can find them online at ejamoving.com. Also, shout out to Joey's at 307 Mohawk Street. Give them a call for reservations at 315-864-3527. Utica Coffee. Today we're drinking the Brazilian roast, I think it is, Justin.
I'm incredibly awake right now.
You're woke?
I'm woke.
Are you woke right now?
I am woke the fuck up. Let me tell you.
WakeTheHellUp.com. You can find them online. Shout out to my attorney, Dave Longaretta, who's been keeping me out of trouble since the early 90s. Give him a call today if you need legal advice, 315-735-6162. You want a good book to read? You got to check out Under Too Long from Billy the Liquor Guy. You can find it on pretty much wherever you get books. It's about undercover agents that infiltrate biker gangs and bombs and drug-sniffing dogs. And it's an amazing book. You should check it out. Going to Amazon.com.
Thursday
and
in Utica.
search. Yeah, it's like a Wednesday in Utica. Billy the Liquor Guy is doing some good things. BillyLiquorGuy.com. Also, shout out to Ballsy, my new sponsor here at Ballsy. Go to ballwash.com. Enter in promo code members only for a 15% discount. Get yourself some nut rub. I went to see Fish this weekend, and I should have been handing out samples because
you should have.
It was 95 degrees in Atlantic City.
A lot of smelly balls.
And dude, hippies have smelly balls.
Smelly balls.
I was the only one in all of Atlantic City who had the best smelling balls.
I agree. But you got to use my special tagline.
Go ahead, give it to him.
Stay fresh, my friends. And just hand it to them. You know what I mean? It's perfect.
Stay fresh, my friends.
Yeah,
exactly. But Ballsy's a great company. They reached out to me the other day. They're like, "You guys are killing it for us. I don't know what you're doing, but you guys are doing great." We're like, "Good. Give me some more money."
Yeah, right. Exactly. Tell them you got a voiceover guy for you.
That's it, man.
I'll do the commercials for him.
Local Music Monday in full effect. Justin Smithson in the house with us. How was your weekend? Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We played Harpoon Eddie's on Saturday, and this little kid named Gunner came up. He must have been, I don't know, 8 years old, 7 years old, I don't know. And he got up, and he was just dancing and hanging out, and his mom was taking video and stuff. I got pictures with him and stuff, and he's got a little guitar, so I gave him a guitar pick, and he was all like, yeah, But it was like he was up there the entire second set just dancing with us. It was so much fun.
That's got to make you feel good.
Yeah, man.
And it's good because you're molding the mind of today's youth, which is super important.
We try.
Yeah.
We do the best we can.
Super important. I think so. Justin, we got a freaking legend in the house today,
not kidding,
bro.
Man.
I'm super excited. Mr. Sal Alberico Jr. in the house. What's up, bud? Good to see you. Thank you for coming in.
It's good to be seen.
Good. Man, there's so much to talk about. Like, before you got here, Justin, he started to talk about all these stories and Nat King Cole and his dad and stuff like that. So we got to start from the beginning.
Yeah, but I also want to just give a shout out to everybody that's going to stick around for this whole show. You want to be here from beginning to end because there will be a part two.
100%.
There will 100% be a part two.
In fact, I feel bad because I got to run the hell out of here because I got a gig at the Stanley tonight. We got stomped for 2 nights over at the Stanley. Plenty of tickets on sale. Make sure you get your tickets and support. We're back at the Stanley. I'm so excited to get that theater back open again. But that's hence the dressing up today. I'm not in a cutoff shirt or sweatpants today. But anyhow, Sal joining us today. And Sal, let's start from the beginning because we have to talk about your dad.
Yes.
Because your dad, we talk about you being a legend, that your father was beyond legendary. You were just telling me stories like you played with Jerry Vale, Nat King Cole, and the list goes on and on and on. So is that pretty much where you got your start on playing sax? Was through your father?
Yeah, actually, I was probably 5 or 6 years old, and he would, put a reed on and warm up to go do a gig. And I would, be still my heart. I mean, I looked at that and I said, I want to do that,
Yeah.
So eventually I did. When I started out, I started out on clarinet.
Oh.
At 9 years old.
I didn't know that.
But if you play one wind instrument, you could pretty much play them all, right?
Clarinet is a monster.
Okay.
I mean, it's very difficult. I still have problems with it.
Then you got the oboe and the bassoon that are double reed instruments.
Right.
I mean,
they're
really
difficult instruments.
Yes.
I mean, you don't master that, But I remember taking music lessons on Wednesdays at Fragetta's Music Store on Bleecker Street. And, I'd play, and I faked the stuff, because I had good ear, which is a gift. And Jim Fragetta called my father. He said, look, this kid wants to play the saxophone. He doesn't want to play the clarinet. So my father gave me my first saxophone, which I sounded like a fire in a pet shop. And then, the more I listened to my father, Phil Woods, and Cannonball Adderley and Charlie Parker, my father was more the big band swing. My passion was Bird, Dizzy, and, Phil Woods and Charlie Parker, Sonny Stitt.
Like progressive jazz, right?
Yeah. And he supported me, and my mother did. I remember Shenantries was at the Parkway, and they had 8-track, recordings.
Oh, wow.
And so my mother saw one with a picture of a guy playing the saxophone, and she bought it. So she brought it to me. I put it right in, and it was Phil Woods with Quincy Jones.
Oh, wow.
So that's where it began.
That's the influence right there. Was that Phil Woods 8-track?
Phil Woods, very much so. When I play, actually, I live in Niagara Falls right now. I'm moving back home.
Oh, good.
But I played in Buffalo at Bobby McGee's, a great jazz club. And I remember one night playing, and these saxophone players were there. And we took a break, and I had my saxophone strapped to me. And they said, hey, man, you sound nice, I said, well, thank you. One guy said, you sound like Phil Woods.
Oh, wow.
So I took my horn off. I put it on the bar. I said, here, you sound like him. Go ahead. He said it in I took it in a way that, I was offended.
Oh, see ya.
It wasn't a compliment. He was, you play okay, but you sound like Phil Woods. Well, here you go. You fucking sound like Phil Woods.
Yeah.
Okay?
Let's back up, though. I want to talk more about your dad, though. The names of people that he's played with throughout his career.
Yeah.
It's astonishing. Can you rifle off a few names for us?
Yes. When I was young, we were living in North Utica. My father played at Three Rivers in Syracuse, and it was they brought in like Nat King Cole, Jerry Vale, Tony Bennett, and so Nat King Cole was there. My father played, and then a few weeks passed, and Nat King Cole came back, and he told the conductor, he said, because they switched, from Utica musicians and Syracuse musicians. Not switched, but they joined them.
Yeah. So like a union thing?
Right.
Yeah.
So both unions were happy.
Gotcha.
So Nat King Cole said, I want the little guy on the alto. Because my father was a great lead alto player, So my father was like so astounded, so they played, and my father ended up hanging out with Nat. They would hang out, and he'd get home 5 in the morning, And my mother thought he was having an affair. She said, Sal, you're having an affair. I know it. He said, Marie, I'm with Nick and Cole. We're talking about Natalie was a little girl at the time, and our children and music and life and everything. So she still didn't believe it. He said, "I'll bring you tomorrow to the show." So he did. My mother goes to the show. After the show, my father brings her back, and my mother and father and Nat and Cole are hanging out. And my father said, "Nat, tell my wife after our gig, what do we do?" He said, "I don't know what your husband does when he's."
Threw him right under the bus. And then rolled backwards over him again. Yeah.
Oh, he drove back and forth. Yeah, I don't know what your husband does, but yeah. But it worked out.
Your mother gave him a scoff after that one.
Oh yeah, yes, scaffatone all the way home. But I'll never forget that. I'll never forget those memories.
Sure.
He was just telling me a story about Jerry Vale too.
Oh yeah.
You gotta tell me that one.
Yeah, Jerry. My father played with Jerry. Obviously, through, I think, Nat King Cole, that conductor, I forgot his name. He was a trumpet player, great trumpet player. And he told Jerry Vale about my father. So Jerry calls the house, and we're sitting at the table eating, and Jerry Vale, calls my father. Said, Sal, could you get a rhythm section together today, and we'll do a rehearsal. I'd like you to play. I hear good things. Nat King Cole said things about you. And so my father, yeah. So anyway, they ended up doing the rehearsal. And Jerry was really cocky. He came off with this bad attitude. My father said, "You know what, guys? Pack up our shit. Let's go." So now Jerry's left, with nothing. So he calls that afternoon. I'll never forget it. And my mother answered the phone. She says, "Sal, it's Jerry Vale." He practically begged my father back, Yeah. And they worked it out. They ended up playing, and I got, it was somewhat of a success, I guess, the gig, but he was an incredible influence on me. And when we went our separate ways, as far as I loved Phil Woods, Sonny Stitt, John Coltrane. My father appreciated them, but that wasn't his, But he introduced me to, Sal Amico, Dolores Mancuso,
Jimmy Wormworth?
Jimmy Wormworth. When I was a kid,
Yeah,
I was playing. I got the, Nick Rignola, Sal Nistico. I mean, that's when giants roamed the earth.
Yeah, and all local legends.
Absolutely.
All of them. Everyone you just named there.
Sal Nistico played at Three Rivers. That's how my father met Sal. Playing together at Three Rivers, And Sal Nistico did things with Woody Herman, when as a young man.
Wow.
I mean, incredible stuff. I mean, if you go back and YouTube, Sal was... he was incredible. I was obsessed with his playing, his articulation. You know what I mean? He would. We would do like pop 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 pop. He was doodle-dee, 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 doodle-dee. He did that stuff.
Yeah.
He introduced that kind of. And then I met J.R. Montrose. And then I got to be very good friends with David Sanborn, and David thinks I I play great.
Yeah.
I can't believe.
Are you still in touch with David Sanborn?
Actually, Devin Garamone, who I love very much, he's my dear friend. I taught Devin when he was a young boy. Judge Garamone, Anthony, came to me and he said, my son wants to play the saxophone. So I was playing at Louis Brindisi's house. He was married to this woman from Cuba at the time, and so we were playing there. I had Jimmy Johns, Rick Montalbano, wonderful, who I love him also. And anyway, he brought Devin over. And Devin was a young boy, and he sat in the chair and listened to me, you know. So I went to the house and helped him, you know. I mean, he didn't even know how to put a reed on. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, man, I got a live one here, you know. But then I taught him the way my father taught me. Just had the neck and the mouthpiece. Forget the horn. Get a sound. That is the most important thing ever, is a sound. Because if you have the horn, you're going to doodle around with the horn, and the sound goes out, you know. So I taught Devin that. And he gradually, you know, and then I took him to gigs. I was playing at the Sheridan on Sundays, I think from 12 to 2, with Rick Montalbano, Jimmy Johns on drums, who's a wonderful, wonderful player. They both are. And Devin would come and sit there, listen. And then I had him sit in. I said, play something that you are comfortable with. You know, don't, you know, jump into giant steps or something, you know. And he did. And to this day, we're very dear friends. He's like my son, you know. But first off, I'm so honored to be asked to be part of this.
This right here? We're honored to have you here, brother.
Seriously.
I wanted to have you on here for a while, and we got to give a shout out to your beautiful daughter, Stephanie, for setting this all up.
Yes.
Yeah, she's okay. But she set this up, and she's like, you got to have my dad on your podcast. And I thought that's a tremendous idea. Because, I mean, the history that you have, that you are... That you carry with you, it's just amazing. Also, what Saturday Night Live? Didn't you play for Saturday Night Live at one time, or?
I was asked to through David Sanborn, because he was doing it for a little while, and then they wanted an alto player, but I don't read well. I don't read music well. So it was all about reading.
Really, you don't read music at all?
No,
really, all by ear.
Yeah, I was. You know, I remember. You know, no one could believe it because I don't know. I just had this fear of seeing it on paper. Carmen Carmonica, who I love very much, we all know him.
Oh, we all know him, right?
Justin, you know. He showed me one time. I played with him, and he was able to print out what I played. He said, see this? Can you read it? I said, no. He said, well, you just played it. You know, so the relationship between the two, you know, I always had this fear of, but I learned the chord changes. I had so many great musicians say to me, I can't believe you don't read, because I know the chords. Like all the things you are, ba 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 do 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 ba ba do be do do. You know, I know the chords, chord changes. I hear them. You know, but if you were asked me to read it, you know, I remember studying with Phil Woods, and we were high as a fuck. My friend Mike Caruso, rest his soul, he passed away. He had this Red Colombian weed. And so I bring it to Phil, because Phil used to smoke constantly. So my first lesson, now Phil and I are passing this pipe, and we're blasted. You know, I'm at his house in Pennsylvania, in Delaware Water Gap. So he had a grand piano there, you know. So he said, okay, Sal, let's play something. I said, okay. So he started playing piano. He said, just follow what you hear, you know. So I did. And it was great. I mean, it felt, oh, my God, I'm playing with Phil Woods is on piano. You know. He said, man, you sound great. He said, you have a great sound, you know. Then he started writing this stuff out.
Oh.
Right? So, you know, Justin, you know, he said, Sal, this is going to be fun. He just started writing this shit out, you know. Now I'm looking at it. He said, okay, it's kind of a 3/4, you know, boom, ba, ba, get that, boom, ba, ba. I'm like,
when you saw the sheet music, did you just start running away?
It looked like fly shit.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, man. I said, what the? I'm like,
oh, that quote's going to go down in history right there.
oh, yeah. So he said, oh, okay, I'll make it a little easier. And he quickly, he is a great arranger. God bless him. I love him and miss him. So he wrote this other stuff, and finally I told him, I said, Philip, you know, I used to always call him Philip. He said, you and my mother are the only ones that ever call me Philip, you know. But I said, I don't read. I don't read. He said, I can't believe that.
Right.
He said, I can't believe it. You know.
Was it just something you ran away from? Didn't